Hi, welcome. In this video, I'd like to discuss the issue of having a bad moment. Okay, when you're engaging in the relational changing process, and you encounter a moment where you feel like you're actually everything you did was a total waste of time, and something's happened, and you feel like this kind of oh no moment, and it could even be a really bad moment when you feel like, man, this is like what is going on. Again, just to really kind of encourage people to understand that dogs, depending on the level of control, okay, that they've had to begin with. Again, this is part of the getting a sense of things. Why it's so difficult for people to really get a sense of just how much, okay, control a dog has, because this is the kind of deceiving thing about the picture, is that a dog that's gaining a lot of control, you're not gonna get the information that you think that you need or you should get based on what control represents. Because again, when the dog is in full control, they're fine. Okay, they're not fine at all. Okay, but in terms of offering up challenge and having bad moments, the dog's in the house and doing certain things. Don't get me wrong, you're going to have bad moments at certain times, and if you really think about what I'm saying, it will make sense. But there's times that for a good part of the time, the way the picture sets up, is everything's going to look okay. And even though it's not, because the dog is in full control, they don't have to challenge or fight for that which they feel like that they were given control of. Okay, and so the whole issue about stinking thinking, that starts to really take hold, and so you have a situation developing, and you don't really have a good sense of what's developing. So you have to get, number one is you have to have kind of a good foundation first to understand just how bad things can really be, to kind of help you move beyond a bad moment during the process. Because here's the thing to understand about bad moments, is that a bad moment oftentimes is just that. It's not the end of the world, because in terms of dogs, they really do know, that you're changing. In fact, again, an example I use is like having in the human world, being a parent, having a relationship problem, say with a child or a teenager, and getting resistance. Okay, you're starting to, you suddenly discover, okay, hold on here a second, I get a relationship problem here. The child's kind of getting out of control, and maybe they're really more out of control than you even suspected. Okay, it's kind of the same thing. There could have been a lot of things going on. Maybe you didn't even really get a sense of. Okay, you may not even have a sense of it halfway through, just how bad it is. Okay, what they're involved with, and then you're getting a lot of resistance, and it doesn't. You have a hard time reconciling. It's like, wow, man, this is like bad. Even though, okay, you're making progress. Okay, that's the thing to understand. It's no different with dogs. When sometimes people will say, well, Dale, I started the process, and I haven't seen my dog do this and this before. Well, yeah, because they were in full control before. They didn't have to fight or challenge on everything. But here's the thing: when they know things are starting to change, okay, there's like a counter force involved. They're like trying to make up the difference. Okay, because now they really do sense that things are changing, and this is where the bad moment comes online, where you're like, you get a bad moment happen, and you're like, you feel very frustrated, you feel like you've lost ground, and really in reality you really haven't. You're actually gaining ground, just that now you're seeing the real deal. But again, to encourage people, this is where a structure is so important, making sure that to prevent those bad moments where you're using the crate effectively, a really good defined structure, so the dog is not having a lot of opportunities to engage in certain interactions. Okay, you have to rebuild those bridges. So anyway, just an encouragement to people that you might have a bad moment, but try to see it properly, especially if you're following the right path. Because here's the thing: you want to qualify. Number one is you're actually engaged in the right process. So again, check out my website. Make sure you understand what the process represents, how to make sure that relational change is happening to begin with, because you could have a bad moment, and if you're not following the right process, well, you may not be making change anyway. Okay, you're just not making any ground. But when you're following the right path, and you have maybe a bad moment or two, it doesn't mean a change isn't happening at all. In fact, it could mean you're making great change, but you have to make sure that structure is there to make sure that you avoid bad outcomes the best that you can. Because again, understand, dog's in total control. You're starting to move forward. Dog knows what the real deal is, so they're definitely going to try to counter that in different ways. So anyway, something to think about. Thanks for watching.